So hey guys, welcome to my workshop. Just very recently I got some really cool old tools from a customer of ours. I gave them a little bit of money for them, but they were really cool, and I've kind of waited to want to share them until, because I used some of them. So this is just kind of a quick video to show you these really neat tools and to maybe get your input on some of these. Okay, so I've gotten all these tools right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this box aside, pull them out each time, or pull out each one individually and just kind of talk about it. So, let's go. First of all, I ended up with something I've been wanting to buy for a while, a little spoke shave. I have been eyeballing one on eBay for a long time and just about bought it. And then when I saw this, I said, this is perfect. And the reason why I like these older ones is because they've got character. They've been broke in, they've been used. The blade is actually pretty good. I looked at it and I didn't see any major nicks in it, and it's extremely sharp for the age, and later on you'll probably understand why. So we're going to set that up here. This is going to get pretty full here, so I don't want to overwhelm the screen here. Then I've got this Diston 10-inch dovetail saw. This is another object that I've been eyeballing to want to buy someday. You know, I want to experiment with doing some dovetails, and to do that you need a dovetail saw. So this was perfect. Handle's in great shape. There's no cracks. There's a little bit of surface rust, but the blade is tremendous and it's sharp. And honestly, out of all the tools he has, or this guy had in his workshop, I think this was the newest one he had bought, because it doesn't look like it's ever been used. And maybe a little bit because the words are worn off, but we're going to set that up here. In fact, I'm going to have to take that off the screen a little bit. The guy who owned these is actually an older man. He had passed away 11 years ago, and his wife, who's elderly as well, has no need and no children that are involved in this stuff. So, good for me. So here we go. This is another thing that I was eyeballing. I wanted a miter gauge that I could actually set the angles to. Actually, I believe the right term is an angle gauge. So I could set that and make my mark on a board, you know, and use the dovetail saw to cut the cut. So once again, it's just been broken in. And what's really neat about these old tools is some of the older guys would like to brand them. And he put his little M there. Not sure what the M was, because their name was Smith. So obviously M doesn't go with that, so I'm not sure what that is, but we'll stick that up here. Next up, we have a double marking gauge. And this was something I've seen in a lot of flea markets, but you know, honestly, a lot of the times they're really beat up and messed up. This was very good. It still has the original pins on both sides. They're very pointed, and when you clamp it down on both of them, they both clamp down. The brass, everything about this is really good. He had a couple of them there, so I picked the best of them all, and I'm excited to use this. This is actually a Stanley number 72. You see it there, and I'm really happy. I like he added a little keyhole hook here. I think he was hanging it at one point. It wasn't hanging when I was looking at this shop here, but there we go. You know, just some insignificant things. You know, a little compass. I have a compass, but it's from Harbor Freight, and it's, quite honestly, it's pretty terrible, pretty junky. This is perfect. It's really good, and this is up away, so it's giving me the point that I want. So I saw that, and it was just a small little item that I wanted to have. Alright, we'll move on a little bit into different realms. I've already used this quite a bit. I have one just like this. This is a WoodWorking rasp, and you can take a lot off with this thing. This is actually in extremely good condition. The handle is surprisingly still on. The one I have, the handle keeps coming off. There are some cracks, so this might end up coming apart someday, but I really like the details on the handle, and it's a good length. It even has a little bit of some grooves on the corners, so that's something I'm really tickled about having. So these next set here, I'm going to just pull them out all together because they all just kind of flow together. And I got these chisels. And you know what? I'm going to have to start moving some stuff. So some of these things you're just going to see disappear from the screen because we need room. Alright. So this is I believe it's a 2-inch. No, it looks more like an 1.5-inch chisel. And I tell you, the honest thing that it was really drawing me to is I have a lot of chisels, and I was looking at buying some really good chisels, but I saw these and I knew these were Stanleys, and so I wanted the Stanleys. These are really good. You know, some of these handles are coming off, but that's nothing major. It can be repaired very simply. This one actually goes here. This one actually seems to be older, and I don't know if that's the right handle for it. And then we got these. So, kind of ended up with a set. I think we missed one in between these two, but that's fine. I did jump ahead and get the bigger one because I don't have one this size. So with some of the projects that I'm doing, I wanted to already have this, but these are Stanleys. This is Stanley number 60. They all have the Stanley. Well, this one does not have a marking, and in fact, you could tell by the handle it probably could be a knockoff. Here's a Stanley. This one I believe is newer. It kind of has a look at this. It does have a lot of surface rust. This chisel here is different. This is actually Joswan Company. Never heard of that. If you've got any insight on some of these, let me know. This is an interesting chisel. I just realized looking at it more in depth. It's got a big bevel, but look at it's thick. As compared to these, it's actually thicker than the wider blades, but it's really thick there. So, you know, maybe this is actually something you can use on a lathe. I'm not sure. It's kind of short for a lathe, but it was really nice to get these. And these need a little bit of work, need a little sharpening on the sharpening stone. But other than that, they're pretty nice condition. Excuse me for that. So, talking about lathes, I believe that what I have here are lathe tools because they're very long handled. They look more like stainless steel or chrome. This one here is missing the handle, and it's been beat on, so I'm not really sure what the story is on that, but I plan on making some wooden spoons, and this is exactly what I need, even this one here. So I'm going to give it a shot. They're still very sharp, and they're factory edge. You could tell they've never been sharpened. So I'm not really sure what these are intended for. They're made by New Haven Edge Tool Company. If you know anything about these or these look familiar to you, let me know in the comments below. I really would like to know some insight. They're about 12 to 13 inches long. So this would probably be more like about there. So, you know, they came in this canvas bag that was pretty gnarly. It's not going to really last or be used probably, but really neat. We've also got a little mini carving knife, and I could tell he has really done a number on this one. This is probably the worst grinding. It's still pretty sharp, but you could tell it's extremely rough. It needs a good sharpening, but you know, I'm not sure how you really sharpen something of that angle. But this was perfect because once again I'm thinking about the wooden spoons, and I'm going to need hand tools of that nature. So the last thing, which was a nice surprise to me, this little box. I saw it sitting on a shelf, and I thought, what is this box? It looks really interesting. It's got a lot of wear. It's kind of got a patina on it. So open it. Voila! It's an oil sharpening stone. It's a really nice stone. It's crystalline. It's a Norton Abrasives oil stone. So I have a water stone that does 2 different grits, but this is an oil. This looks like it says, I can't read that. It says fine. That's about the only thing I could see on here. It looks very fine. A very high grit but it's a very well used. You can tell that it's been used, and even in this case, I think he made that. As you can, looking at the edge, it's not perfectly straight. It's kind of routed and cut. So a really neat little, perfect little box to house it in. And that's why, going back to the first tool I showed you, the spoke shave, that's why I know that he sharpened these things, because this blade here is just phenomenally sharp. Now it does have a little curvature to it, I think. Yeah, a little bit. But it's extremely sharp for the age. And it doesn't have a lot of nicks in it, as you can tell. There's some rust on it, some pitting. But other than that, it's pretty good shape. So, really excited about getting ready to play with these. Oh dear. I think I've lost the direction this thing goes in. But I'm really excited about getting to play with these and get some use out of them and kind of bring a new life to these old tools that have just sat around for 11 years, not being able to be used at all. So I'm really excited about that. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you know anything about any of these tools that I have here, let me know in the comments below. The Dovetail saw, the brand, if it's a good brand. These things, I would love to know if they're actually lathe machine tools. If they are, I'm still thinking I'll probably use them for typical chiseling work and stuff like that. But let me know in the comments below and what you think about everything else. And if you have gotten old tools from people, let me know your stories. But thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe and leave a comment below. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.